But how can he say he takes classified material seriously when some of what was found may have been in his home for more than a decade, and he seemingly had no idea?
Well, the important point there, Martha, is that he had no idea.
Another question on the documents. You have said, though, from this podium many, many times over the last 2 weeks that this president takes the handling of classified material very seriously. And yet we continue to learn about more documents being found and discovered at his home, including now some that go back decades to his time in the Senate. So why should the American people believe that this president takes classified material seriously and the handling of it?
Look, the American people heard from the president directly on this when he was asked by your colleagues at least twice now about how he sees this process. And he was very clear with the response of what we're currently seeing. And he says, I take this very seriously. He said, I didn't know that the documents were there. And look, I think as it relates to the American people and the president standing with the American people, it is going to be up to them to decide how they see this president. Look, this is a president that came into office, 9 million people had lost their jobs, the unemployment rate was 6.3%, and hundreds of thousands of small businesses had closed their doors. And in the past 2 years, we've created nearly 11 million jobs. The unemployment rate is at a record low, at 50-year record low. In the last 2 years were the best years for small business applications on record. We talked about that last week, just from here. The president has built the most significant legislative record since LBJ. Let's not forget, there's a CHIPS and Science Act, the bipartisan infrastructure legislation. I just walked through what he's going to see next week when he's traveling to Baltimore and also New York City. The Inflation Reduction Act, which is going to deal with lowering costs. So the president has been in office for the last 2 years focusing on the American people. And, you know, we saw that. We saw what the American people had to say during the midterms. As it relates to this, as it relates to this ongoing legal matter, I would refer you to my colleagues at the House Counsel, and I will be speaking with all of you in just less than an hour or so.
But I want to ask one more time, because you have been the one messaging that he takes this seriously. You have also been saying over and over again that you are cooperating fully with this investigation.
That hasn't changed, Mary.
But given that, why then did it take several searches and the FBI coming in to uncover the full extent of the documents at his house?
I understand your question. I've said many times, the president has said many times, he takes this very seriously. You've heard directly from him. You just said that his team is cooperating fully. And just want to add, you know, and you heard from his team that the FBI was invited into the president's home. I'm not going to go beyond that. That was in the statement that was released on Saturday. Again, these are questions that have been answered that have been answered from here. That has been answered for my colleagues. Anything else? My colleagues going to speak to all of you in just a few minutes, a few moments, and you can ask more intel and detailed
one
questions.
Thing that you just said. You just said the president said that he did not know the documents were there.
He said, I didn't know that the documents were there.
I'm not actually sure he has said that clearly. Are you saying the president did
Well,
not
he
know
said he was surprised. He said he was surprised.
Any of the documents?
He said he was surprised. I'm just going to leave it there, and I'm going to refer you to the White House counsel's office. I'm just repeating what he said, and he said.
What you just said. You said he did not know the documents were
He
there.
said he was surprised that the documents were there. He said that, and that he takes this very seriously. That's what I want to make sure that the American people understand. And I just refer.
American people might question that. Given that you keep every few days, it seems we are finding that more documents have been found at his house.
What I'm telling you is what the president has said, which is he takes this very seriously. I will refer you to detailed explanations from statements that have come from his personal lawyer. Again, anything further on this, my colleague is going to be taking your questions, Mary. In the 4 o'clock hour, I would refer you to them.
But how can he say he takes classified material seriously when some of what was found may have been in his home for more than a decade, and he seemingly had no idea?
Well, the important point there, Martha, is that he had no idea. As you know, if you're serving in the Senate or as vice president or president, you literally get millions of documents coming through your office week in and week out. And as you get more senior and as the matters that you're handling are more important and occasionally more classified, the volume gets higher. So I do think this was inadvertent. The whole point of having a special counsel is to ensure that and to give the American people confidence in that. But frankly, Martha, I also don't think this is an issue that's keeping Americans up at night.